However you may be listening and wherever you may be, welcome to the MM podcast.
I'm Emily, this is Mauricio, and we're your hosts.
And when everybody's super, no one will be. You thought about joining me. I saw you. I thought you would.
I wasn't sure. It's not in the script.
It's true. But I figured I was like, maybe she might just join me in that one. I guess before we get started and talk about our intro, I wanted to share I wanted to start a little bit. It is sad. I want to share some news with the podcast. A lot of our listeners are friends of the podcast. They know us personally and they know my mom. But today, you guys will know her. She's a legend in the Mauricio and Emily lore and Patty lore. But today we have lost Chloe, my mom's dog. She was not doing very well. We saw her yesterday. We said goodbye to her yesterday. And she looked rough. My mom decided to put her down today. So, if you're a friend of the podcast, if you know my mom personally, if you see my mom on the weekend, check in on her, give her a hug. Because she's sad. My mom was very sad. Chloe was very much my mom's dog. And I think when we talk about my mom, Chloe's one of the first, things that, they almost I don't know. They're kind of like Woody and Buzz.
Yeah.
My mom and Chloe, Woody and Buzz.
Yeah. Very sad.
But that's all. I just wanted to share that because I know a lot of people that listen see Patty on the weekends. So just wanted to give you guys that update and let everyone know that Chloe's no longer with us. She was a good dog. She was a good companion to my mom. Really good companion to my mom. I'm really grateful for especially after we got married and I left the house. I was really grateful that my mom had Chloe for the last 3 years to keep her company. I definitely, if you would have asked me 5 years ago who would go first between all of our dogs, I definitely would not have thought it would be Chloe.
Definitely not.
I thought Maggie would be maybe. She's big, she's a big dog.
Yeah.
She's going to distance, man.
She might be the strongest.
She might be the strongest because little Jazzy, doesn't look
problems,
too good.
Yeah.
She's got some problems. So Maggie might be the one that outlives all of them, which is crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, so we're gonna move on from that. 30 years of Pixar. So 1995 to 2025.
Yeah.
Dude, anyone born in 95 right now they might be realizing right now, as we're talking about this, that they're 30 years old. So Emily, what kind of inspired us for 30 years of Pixar?
We were watching The Pit, and then we'd watch a couple episodes at a time, and we like to palate cleanse after we watch something that's a little bit more intense.
Mm-hmm. That's our exact language.
And I think you would just put Incredibles on, and
I didn't even think about it. I kind of just threw it on.
Yeah.
I was like, let's get something.
I don't know. We're in our superhero phase right now with Fantastic Four and Superman.
I guess it's true. I didn't even think about that when I threw it on. I mean, of course, after we got through The Incredibles, which we'll talk about more in detail later. Watching it, we're like, oh, this is actually just a Fantastic Four. Which, as a kid, you don't realize.
Yes and no, but we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Anyways, we were watching, and we needed something to kind of just chill out with, and we turned on Incredibles, and we both were kind of surprised at how much we enjoyed it, and it kind of just went from there. We, we're gonna watch this one, we might as well watch all of them, and didn't even realize that this year was 30 years.
Yeah, me neither. I feel
Pixar.
Like no one is talking about it. I don't know. Maybe we're just not running around.
I think we're a little early, to be honest. AMC is doing a 30-year re-release of Toy Story in September, I think.
Oh, so we're right on time. By the time this episode comes out, that stuff
coming out right now.
Oh yeah, I mean for our live viewers, it's coming out. Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, so we just ended up perfect timing.
It is. We were looking for. I had a few ideas for podcast episodes, which I think it'll be really fun. We have a few concepts that I think will go well. But you weren't really vibing with my ideas. at the moment. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep looking. And then when we put on The Incredibles, and I just had a curiosity, I was like, when did the first one come out? And I was like, 95. I was like, oh my gosh, we're here. It's 30 years. And then I started to see, I was like, okay, what would happen if I started breaking up Pixar by the decade?
Yeah.
And oh, don't take that off. Um, I was like, what would happen if I broke up Pixar by the decade? And then I realized like it splits up pretty perfectly into like three distinct eras, and we're going through it. And we're like, oh, this definitely feels like an era. This feels like an era. This feels like
Well, even more so than eras, you just ended up doing it by decades, and it
an era.
lined up to be more
Yeah,
like you saw the different eras.
we're in the last decade will be rough because there's like 12 movies. It's so many movies. This first decade is really nice. They do 6 movies. It's once every 2 years. Don't worry
Yeah.
about the math. It is once every 2 years. That's how years work. Not like regular numbers. You know, someone's gonna be like, "What? 10
It
divided by 2 is not."
averages out to about one every 2 years, but I think they came out.
Yeah, they
It
came
was
out
like
a little bit
95,
sporadically.
96,
But
99, whatever.
yeah,
It wasn't exactly
it
every
wasn't
two
exactly
years,
every
but
2 years, but it does average out to every 2 years, which I think is a perfect pace. Um, and it probably matters when it comes to quality as well. We'll see later in the other episodes. We talk about the other decades. So, anyways, yeah, that's sort of what we're going to be looking into today. We're going to be looking at the first decade. But before we do so, you have a question for me?
yeah, it was kind of hard to come up with a question this time because I think there's so many ways and you could go about this and so many questions to ask. But I do think one thing Pixar tends to do is have very dynamic duos, very I don't know, you think like Woody and Buzz,
Mm-hmm.
Dory and Marlin, um, you know, Mike and Sully. So you think, ah, oh, these duos, you know? For The Incredibles, maybe it's not quite two. You think of,
You have some pairs.
I
Like
mean, you
there's a
have
lot
like
of pairs throughout the
Frozone and
movie.
Mr. Incredible. You
Mm-hmm.
have Elastigirl and Mr. Incredible. You
Mm-hmm.
have,
Dash and
yeah,
Violet.
so there are options, but anyways. Um, so my question is, which duo is your favorite? And if you could join a duo, make it maybe a trio,
Mm.
which one would you pick?
So this would be more of a trio, or would this be more of me third wheeling?
You become a part of it.
Okay, all right,
You're
all
not
right.
third
I'm
wheeling.
not third wheeling. Okay.
So there's
First of
that.
all,
It's two different
that's a
questions.
good question. And if anyone's listening on Spotify right now, this will be our poll question for the episode. So make sure open the app on Spotify if you're listening right now. Scroll to the bottom. You're gonna see a little poll section and answer the poll. I like to see the numbers. So which duo is your favorite and who do you join? Um, okay, I think this is actually a little bit easy for me because I actually wrote this in my notes later. Um, but I think by far the best duo is Mike and Sully.
Hmm.
Um, I think there's just genuine friendship there. With Marlon and Dory, they're meeting in the and they're also really obnoxious. Those two. With Woody and Buzz, they're meeting in the first movie.
Okay, but what about the second movie?
I think I honestly feel like Woody and Buzz would really make me feel left out. I think those two like are just too like it just I feel like if there was like a third toy in the picture, like he would not feel like an equal part of the trio. I think those guys have like real alpha energy. Mike and Sully, they're just like boys, man. Like they're just like they're boys. Like I could picture myself sending memes in a group chat with Mike and Sully. I think Woody and Buzz would ignore my texts. I really do. So I'm taking Mike and Sully. Yeah. What about you? You have an answer?
Um, I'm surprised you didn't pick, like Mr. Incredible and Frozone. They go out and do adventures together, and
I know. I don't really think of them as a duo. Like you said, The Incredibles is a lot of pairs, but like they don't have like a duo like Nemo, Toy Story, and Monsters Inc.
you wouldn't want to join Flick. And
Like and nobody.
I was trying to think, and it could be Dot, it could be Ada.
Well, then you're really third wheeling if you're with Flick and Ada.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to think of Flick's duo as well. I guess we'll get to that. We'll get to Bugs Life.
Um, I think I would probably, I mean, if I'm talking about the like originally when I watched this, I probably would have picked Dash and Violet. It's a lot of fun. They're,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah, speaks to your soul too. Like I feel like you read a lot of fiction, and like that's like the age. Like you think about Harry Potter. Like there were kids and teenagers. You think about Percy Jackson. They were teenagers when they did the whole thing. So I think as your husband, I'm going on a limb and I'm saying like I think when it comes to fiction, I think an enjoyable story for you is when like kids and teenagers are the ones like stepping into the story.
or, but for my favorite, I mean, I think you have to just go with the classic Woody and
Woody and
Buzz.
Buzz. Cool. That's a good question. Make sure you guys answer in the poll. I'm curious to see what everyone thinks. All right. So today's episode, we're talking about the first decade, 1995 to through 2005. Technically, there was no release in 2005. The Incredibles comes out in '04,
Mm-hmm.
and the next release after that is Cars in '06. But we'll just round out the decade by going 95 through '05. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be tackling all 29 Pixar films in the last 30 years. I don't know how long it's going to take us to do this like whole
Yeah,
series.
it might take us longer than a few weeks, to be honest.
Yeah, because we're definitely not going to do it back to back to back. We'll probably have different episodes in between. Um, watching these 6 movies in like maybe a week, less than a week.
Yeah, we pushed it real fast.
And that
I
felt like
think.
work. It
Yeah.
definitely by the end of it, like we finished Monsters Inc. this morning, and that felt like we were working.
Yeah, I
I
guess.
mean, I enjoyed it, but it was like I was like, okay, we got to wake up and watch Monsters Inc.
I think it was just hard too because I had to really stay locked in while watching it, and some of these are harder to stay locked into.
You think so? We'll talk about it.
Maybe just one specifically, but we'll get there.
Yeah. All right. So where are we kicking things off, Emily?
Well, we're going to be going through, I think, probably the easiest way to do this, which is chronologically. So, starting at the very beginning and working our way down. So, we'll start with Toy Story, and for this episode, we'll be ending with Incredibles.
Yeah, and we're gonna briefly share our thoughts on the movie as they come up, and at the very end, we're gonna rank the movies of the decade from best to worst. Sorry, we'll do opposite from worst to best. So we'll take turns, and then at the very end, after all of that, I have a question specifically for Emily, where I will be asking her what she would have done differently as the head of Pixar Studios for the decade. So I think I'll do that every episode. The question will be different every episode, but the concept will be the same. You are the head of Pixar Studios. We just finished the decade of Pixar. In hindsight, what would you have done differently? And then I'm going to ask you specifically what the question is. So very mysterious. So we'll get to that. But anyways, let's kick it off. So 1995, Toy Story. What are your thoughts?
Toy Story. Wow. You have, I think Toy Story is one of those that you think of as, yeah, that was a movie that I watched growing up. That was like one of my childhood classics. And I thought that too, going into this whole thing, but I realized that maybe Toy Story 2, more so than Toy Story 1, was more defining, maybe.
Yeah.
I think Toy Story might have just been a little bit before. Obviously, I was born in 1999, but it might be a little bit like too far past my,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree, and I don't want to jump the gun here, but I think the reason because I'm on the same boat. I kind of came in like ready to be super nostalgic about Toy Story, and I was like, oh, I think I'm actually nostalgic about Toy Story 2. Like I don't think 1 is the one that like was like childhood defining. And I think the reason for that is just because the second one is. I don't want to spoil my rankings, but the second one is just better. It does everything that the first one does, but bigger and better.
Yeah.
at every level.
Yeah.
So I mean, probably as a kid, it's just like you're just gonna enjoy and latch on to the better one of the two. But yeah, I thought Toy Story was good. I thought it was really good. I thought it was great. Gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd. I thought it was genuinely funny. I found it funny. Joss Whedon does the script for Toy Story, which I didn't know until this watch, and you can almost like feel the Joss Whedon in the script because the movie, I think where the movie struggles, if it struggles at all, is that it's like a little bit one dimensional. Like Toy Story One just feels like a straight comedy. I mean, obviously there's like a little bit of action at the end, and there's some existential crisis with Buzz and identity, and themes of jealousy with Woody. So like, yes, the movie is like deep for a kids movie, but like as an adult watching this now, I did feel like it was kind of just like a straight children's movie. Like it was just like, it's like, hey, we're a funny kids movie with toys that are talking and on like a silly adventure. Um, and I think that's like Joss Whedon's like strength. Like I think you think about like his first Avengers movie and it's really like a wholesome like family superhero flick. And then when I think Joss Whedon tries to sort of like extend himself beyond that, I think he kind of struggles, right? Like we see it in the way that he handled the Justice League theatrical release. There's other Joss Whedon projects that like, I think the more you're exposed to Joss Whedon, the more fatigued you are of him. But I think Toy Story is like perfect for him. I think he nails this. Some really good dark humor. I think I'm not. This isn't my favorite part of the movie, but this was what I used for my Letterbox review. But it's so funny when Andy's mom steps on the Green Army Man,
Mhm.
and just like touches him. It's so relatable, dude. I had so many of those growing up. Um, and I remember like feeling bad anytime I would break any of them. And the movie does such a funny job of like playing it off as like this is really tragic. Like we just
Mhm.
lost a soldier.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those are like my overall thoughts on Toy Story. This first decade is like super nostalgic for me because I came to the United States in 2006. So every single movie that we watched for this first decade, I watched for the first time in Guatemala as a kid.
Yeah. Did you watch it in English?
I don't know. I don't remember. It's like that stuff is really hard for me to remember if like I watched it in English or Spanish. Um, Maybe both. I don't know. Vos eres un juguete. That's probably what it sounded like if I did watch it. But I mean, I had all the merchandise. I remember having like multiple VCRs of Toy Story 2 and Bugs Life. Like I can smell like the plastic case when I used to like open it as a kid.
Mhm.
I can feel like the texture, like the crunch of like a VCR box.
Mhm.
And like eventually you open and close it so much that like you kind
It
of
gets loose.
you ruin the box and it gets loose. And I remember my Bugs Life box was really messed up from how often I would open and close it. So yeah, it's like super
Yeah.
nostalgic for me because I'll be interested. I'll be interested in seeing what the next era feels for me because the next era was all in the United States for me. Like that's like a new chapter of my life, like being a kid in the United States.
Mhm.
But this first decade is like, yeah, like this is all like my real childhood. It's very bright.
Yeah.
Like I look at it very brightly.
I think I think that this decade is, I mean, similar. Like I remember having some of these movies on DVD, and I remember like at a daycare that I went to that they had one of these movies on DVD, and I like you can like see the DVD homes like menu
Mm,
screen, and I just can see it for like Finding Nemo, for Monsters Inc., for Toy Story. I can just kind of see that in my mind of the pre-roll that would happen and stuff like that. And so these movies are very nostalgic, but also I think I know you said that maybe Toy Story specifically felt mostly like a kids movie. I want to disagree a little bit on that just because I think all six of these movies I enjoyed just as much watching
mm,
this week
yeah.
as an adult as I enjoyed as a kid. And I'd say some of them, not that I enjoyed more, but I enjoyed way more than I thought I would.
Mm,
Because, yeah, you'd think these are just kids' movies,
yeah.
but there's a lot of pop culture references. There's a lot of, like, that dying army man, like you said. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of a or the extended credit. Those are almost things that you go over your head as a kid
Mhm.
and you don't realize, and you're just like, oh, he's sad,
Yeah.
or oh no.
Yeah.
But as an adult now, you're like, oh wow, that's
Hmm.
not what I.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I should clear. I think the reason, spoiler alert, all these movies are good. We liked all six of
Yeah,
them, so there's no real critiques in this first decade. Um, and I think they're all good because they are so rewatchable as adults. Um, I should have clarified in my critique about it being a kids movie. I guess what I really meant is that out of the six of them, this is the most kiddish one.
yeah.
Like if I had to rank them, like I guess if we're ranking them like in order of like maturity, I
Hmm.
think this is like the most like an immature one, sort of like it's just I
Yeah.
think the other ones like continue to get more emotionally mature
Hmm.
and have like a more emotional depth. I think this one for sure is the most kiddish out of the six. But I agree with what you're saying. All right, what's your favorite part of Toy Story?
Um, I think what I really enjoy, especially in regards to Toy Story and Bugs Life specifically, they draw a lot on like the world we know. Because like if you look in
Mm-hmm.
Andy's room, you see Twister, you see the Game of Life, you see
Mm-hmm.
all these toy like Play School is like a brand that is
Mm-hmm.
used for specific toys in real life, and they somehow like you don't see that anymore. You don't see real
Mm-hmm.
brands, real games that used in movies like that much anymore. But seeing all these things that you remember having or using as a kid, and like it's in real life in Andy's room, and that's a lot of fun. And I think too, getting to see the personalities they chose for each boy
Mm-hmm.
and their character and their characteristics, like Mr. Potato Head being, I don't know, like a little more.
He's a little crass.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Kind of
And
grumpy, like grumpy old. Like it just feels like some like random like old New York unk that you would find on the street.
Rex is a anxious T-Rex,
He's an
and
anxious mess, that poor guy.
you know the Etch a Sketch has a sense of humor. Like it's all
Mm-hmm.
these things, like the Slinky Dog. He's
Yeah.
loyal because he's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
It's all these things where it's cool to see that.
Yeah. I think my favorite part of Toy Story is the opening credits. Like I said, I don't get very emotional in this first movie just because I don't think it has like a ton of room for that. But the opening credits get me legitimately emotional. There's like a POV shot of Woody, who is like inanimate at the moment because Andy's playing with him during the opening credits,
Hmm.
and he's on the recliner like leaning up against Andy as Andy's like spinning around on it, and you get to see that from Woody's POV. So like
Hmm.
all you see is like Andy's like legs flopping in the air, the room spinning, and then Randy Newman's "You Got a Friend in Me" score is playing, I think. Um, and I think that scene always gets me emotional just because it's like I don't know, it just encapsulates childhood, kind of like you mentioned. It's so nostalgic. Like I think of myself being that age with my toys.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, something that the Toy Story movies do really well is that like they make you like sympathize for something that isn't real. Like
Hmm.
like I remember like after a kid watching Toy Story, like I was so aware of like being nice to my toys. Like just because
You
I don't
didn't
know,
want to be Sid.
it wasn't even the consequence of like being Sid because I think even as a kid I was like I know that's not. It was more just like out of like I just wanted to be kind because I was like on the off chance that they are real, I'm not worried that there's going to be repercussion. I just want to be a good human being. Like I want to be a good kid.
Yeah.
So I'm going to treat these like toys kindly. So yeah, I love that opening credit shot with Woody and Andy.
I was doing a little bit of outside research, I guess, for some of this. I was watching like YouTube videos or interviews or whatever, and one of the things that I was watching was talking the creators of Toy Story. Like Toy Story was something that had never been done before. CGI and computer animation on this level was new and different, and they weren't sure how it was going to work, and they weren't like you know something. And obviously, humans don't look very good at the beginning, and that's one of the reasons they used Toy Story first, is because they're humanoid enough that you can get away with making them look plastic and like a toy. But anyways, it was interesting because what they were saying, the one of the creators was saying, is that they wanted, because with animation you can, make the camera be wherever you want it to be, do whatever you want to do, because it's not a real, you're not restrained to real physics.
Physics, physical space. Yeah.
And but they were saying that they wanted to have the camera be grounded and still feel like a real camera, like real shots that you would get in like, live action movies, because they wanted people watching the movie to have a basis of feeling like they like not comfortable, but like comfortable in the sense like, oh, like I feel like this is a real movie.
Like,
and
it
that's
feels like a movie, yes.
Part of why later on they don't do it with Toy Story, but they do it with Bug's Life and Toy Story 2 and Monsters Inc. Is that they have the bloopers and the outtakes, is because that's one of those things that you'd see with a real cast and so I think that's really interesting and really cool, is that like they had this new technology, but that's why you get the POV shots, or you get the shot like I think in one of the things he was saying, like, oh well, you think, okay, that maybe the camera's on an RC car next to the car, on a rocket next to the rocket, so you get these shots that are grounded in reality almost.
Yeah, and they do a really good job with that, because as the movies go on, you feel, right, like I'm going to say camera work, but it's not, because there is no camera work, but you feel the camera work in the movies improve. Like in Toy Story 2, there's an ultra wide shot of Woody, I think maybe like before the art sale to the beginning of the movie, and like Woody freaks out, and the camera like goes from ultra wide to like a close up, and like it zooms in, and like it like rushes to Woody. And I remember being like, wow, that's good camera work. Because they do such a good job of making it feel like, like we're pointing and shooting, like we're capturing the story. We're not generating it, we're capturing it. So yeah, that's a great point there. Yeah. All right, what's your least favorite part of the movie?
I think that one of the areas that Toy Story lacks is that feeling of the ensemble cast.
Yeah.
I mean, you have it obviously because you have the other toys surrounding Woody and Buzz, but it's very so focused on Woody and Buzz that like sometimes the pacing might feel a little bit off, or I think we'll talk about it a little bit too, but Woody, like I think I rate Toy Story lower than Toy Story 2 because Woody is not actually very likable in this movie.
You're 100% right.
And he's not very fun to watch because of that. And so when you're so focused on Woody, it's like
I feel like a drag sometimes.
It's hard because it's like I'm watching a character that's not necessarily the most likable in that sense.
I agree. Yeah.
Like, what's your answer?
I just finished praising Randy Newman in the opening credits for my most favorite part. I'm gonna now critique him for my least favorite part. I don't even. I mean, I think this is purely subjective. I really, really dislike the scene of Buzz climbing the staircase and trying to fly out the window. And I think I dislike that scene because of Randy Newman's score, like his little. It's not a needle drop because it's an original song for the movie, but he decides to sing in this song, and it really bothers me. I wrote the lyrics because I thought about singing this during the podcast. I'm not going to do it. I'm too shy. But it's Randy Newman goes, I could fly if I wanted to, like a bird in the sky. If I believed I could fly, well, I fly. And this all happened in slow mo while Buzz is like
he's climbing up the railing.
He's climbing. It's really like majestic.
He jumps.
There's like a swell, and he jumps, and there's in slow mo, and then he starts falling, and then the score slows down, and he falls, and his arm falls off. So like it's not even that it's done poorly. I just really don't like the song choice during that scene. It bothered me as a kid. it bothered me as an adult. Like I said, it's mostly like subjective here, but there's just something about it that I don't like that
Yeah, I was watching another interview, different one with the director, I think. And they were talking about the video was about Buzz specifically and like his storyline and how he comes to realize, he needs to like I think one of the main themes of Toy Story is the idea of identity and
scene.
acceptance of who you are. Woody's, even though we just talked about how he's not the most likable character, but Woody's arc is learning, if I'm not the favorite toy, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And Buzz's arc is learning, I am a toy, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I don't know, you just talking about that scene made me think about that and how um, it's just interesting. Yeah, like that is like a pivotal scene for Buzz specifically because it's right after he watches the commercial. He realizes he's actually a toy.
Mm,
You see the scene of the aisle of
yeah.
Buzz toys and
With Sid's drunk dad.
yeah,
I tried. It's actually so right. The implication, like, it's implied that like Sid has a deadbeat dad who's like passed out on the couch. I was looking at all those cans. Those were all soda cans. It was grape soda. It was root beer. It was like Coca Cola. So I don't
it's a
know.
kids movie.
Yeah, but maybe they could have like left them unlabeled. I think it's like strong to signify that the reason Sid is so messed up is obviously because he's got a bad home life. That's everyone knows that. But then watching it closely and seeing that like it's just soda cans, that made
Mhm.
me feel a little less bad for Sid's home situation. Because I'm like maybe his dad is just asleep on the couch. Like maybe he's actually a normal dad and he's not passed out drunk.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm nitpicking there. I think what you were saying is a perfect transition to our last um, our last talking point for Toy Story, which is one tweak to the movie. You want to share yours first? You're kind of on it already.
Sure. Um, just Wood. It's. I think you could make Woody a little bit more likable. He's a lot more likable in the second one.
Yeah.
He's a lot more balanced. I think because the other toys maybe they don't. I don't know if they like him, but they at least generally respect him. Um, I know Slinky Dog likes him.
Bobby.
Mr.
No.
Potato Head
Yeah.
at least respects him generally.
They were kind of quick to move off of him though.
Yeah, that's what I don't know. It's just I think yeah, just talking about identity, like it's okay to make him still likable and come to the realization he doesn't have to be favorite to him.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it's like because he's the favorite, it's been gotten to his head so much, and now he's got competition, and like you said, he's such an alpha male.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that was my thought.
Yeah. It's same here. My tweak would be to add more depth to Woody's character. I don't know if it's Tom Hanks fatigue in 2025, but like exactly what you were saying. Like he just doesn't have a lot of redeeming qualities. It's hard to relate to him. Like he's just kind of like a mean boy. And I think the movie is really short. It's a tight script. It's like 80 minutes, 90 with credits. Um, I think it'd be so easy to just like add a little bit of like background to Woody, right? Like he's obviously a jealous toy, but we don't know why he's a jealous. And I think it would have been really easy to like explain that in some sort of way. Um, Obviously from the second movie, we know that he's a really old toy. Like his stuff is all from the 50s. That doesn't necessarily mean that he was manufactured like in the 50s, but like the IP of Woody has been around for like 40 years.
Hmm.
Um, and like I refuse to believe that Woody's first ever like come to life moment was with Andy. Like I don't know. I think there just has to be something that predates Andy and Woody's like lore, which I don't think is the case in the script. But I think like practically and logistically, there should be something that predates Andy for Woody that maybe like sets up Woody to be the way that he is for the start of this movie. So yeah, I think you just need to add more depth to Woody. I think he's like not the most fun protagonist. He's kind of like he's not the reason people like Toy Story. Like people like, and I'm talking about not the franchise. I'm talking about just this movie. I think people like this movie because of the world that it's set in,
Mhm.
the rest of the toys.
Mhm.
Nostalgia is a big part of it. Um, like Buzz is a big part of it too. Like people like Buzz. People don't like Woody in this first movie. Like they like Buzz. So yeah, he's just kind of a weak protagonist. I don't know. I think there's something to be something left to be desired there in that
Mhm.
first movie. All right, cool. We're gonna move on to 1998, the year that I was born. A
This is
Bug's Life.
your
This
movie.
is my movie. I love A Bug's Life.
Why don't you jump us in then?
Sure. All right. So my initial thoughts is immediately I feel like it's a step up from Toy Story, which I think people have a hard time accepting because I'm just gonna like put this out there. I think in almost every way, I think Bug's Life is better than the original Toy Story. I just don't think the world is as fun as the world of toys. So people refuse to give Bug's Life like that glaze. Because I think it is. I think Bug's Life is just better. I think it's a better movie. I think the characters are really rich. Like they're deep. Like um, Toy Story 1 feels like the characters don't have real traits. They're just they all just represent like a physical joke. Like they have characteristics that are like played off as gags. And I feel like in Toy Story, besides like like Woody and Buzz and like the main toys, but I feel like in Bug's Life, like all the bugs actually like deal with like I feel like Bug's Life talks a lot about identity, um, which I'll talk about I think at the end of my thoughts. Um, and I think it's like you see that Flick is courageous and a little bit naive. You see that Ada is stressed and a little bit anxious. And like they actually deal with these emotions in a more mature way. And I think the adventure is really fun. I think the setting is really fun. I think the animation is better than Toy Story. Um, Let me see what else I wrote. Yeah, I think there's just like real strong messages in this movie as opposed to also Flick is voiced by Dave Foley, who does a really good job. I think Flick, if we're just talking about protagonists, right? I think Flick is like a way better protagonist than Woody.
Mhm.
I think Dave Foley does a better job than Tom Hanks, like in the role. At least for Toy Story 1. And for anyone that doesn't know, Dave Foley is All American Boy in Sky High. He plays the sidekick to Kurt
He's like
Russell's
the
not the substitute
teacher.
teacher,
He's the teacher for the
sidekick.
sidekick.
Yeah, which is just like a really funny connection to me. That's about all he's done in his career. Is that from Sky High and like Blake and a bunch of other small things. But that's like such a funny career. Um, but yeah, I think Bugs Life is like a step up from Toy Story, which is a theme that is pretty present in the first decade. It feels like every movie is better than the last, at least for me. What about you? What are your thoughts on Bugs Life?
Um, I think this is one of our biggest differing points. I This is the movie I struggled to stay paying attention to when we were watching it.
Yeah.
I This is one that I don't think I watched really as a kid. I think for some whatever reason it just wasn't, you know, popular and so it wasn't around in my house. Um, and I think that's like fair to say in general. This is definitely the most underrated movie in the first decade,
Mm-hmm.
and it's probably one of the top. It's got to be in the top five of underrated in all of Pixar's um, filmography.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make it bad. Just for me, I don't have an emotional attachment to it. I don't really have like the attachment to it. And in
Yeah.
watching it, I don't think it was bad. I think I just had a hard time because yeah, I kind of like mentioned, like it kind of felt like homework sometimes watching these movies.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say it was bad again, but just that for me, it was harder to watch. But that's not to say that the plot wasn't enjoyable. And we had a real story and a real
Yeah.
villain and a real arc.
I think it suffers from the aesthetic of like being set in a world of bugs. even though they do a really good job with it, like creatively, it's really fun,
Mhm.
and like Pixar does a really good job with it.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that if you take this exact same story and you like reskin it with like the world of toys, even or like the world of robots, literally anything else, I think people would eat this movie up. I think there's just something about the bug aesthetic that people don't get attached in like an endearing way. Like I think everyone thinks Bugs Life is cool. Like I actually don't know a lot of people that would be like Bugs Life sucks. I think they're just not like endeared to it like other Pixar IPs.
Maybe to your point, maybe it's more that I think the characters are a little bit hard, like because we had Toy Story 2 and we get Woody's redemption, whatever, all
Yeah.
that stuff. You get more characters, like that's why those characters are easier for people to latch onto. With this one, Flick is a cool character, but the whole time he's made out to be this mistake
Yeah.
and
This
problem
bumbling
and
idiot.
difficulty. And
Yeah.
Ada is not super relatable. She's not really easy to
She is a weak
enjoy
part of the movie.
watching. Um, you have Dot, but she's like a little kid, and then you
Yeah.
have the circus characters, which are a lot of fun, but I think they're pretty,
One dimensional.
yeah, like you were saying, how the Toy Story toy, like so. I think, and I think there's a lot of potential. Disney California Adventure had a whole land,
Rip.
honestly, and I feel like you bring it back after watching this. I'm like, that was so fun that we had that. It's so fun to see, similar to Toy Story,
Mm-hmm.
how with this movie you have human aspects. You have the
Mm-hmm.
whole city.
Right. Like they live in the human world, but they have
Yeah.
their own like sub
And it's a
society.
lot of fun to see and to think like in a fantastical world, like, oh, they use the Chinese takeout box as part of their magic trick and they go to a circus that made out of animal cracker circus, but like you have that stuff's all really cool. But for some reason I think it just didn't, yeah, connect with people maybe as much as
Yeah.
was toys.
What was your favorite part of Bugs Life?
Favorite part, I kind of maybe I don't remember. Um, my favorite part of Bug's Life was I kind of mentioned it I think in the last just what we had just talked about, but the the world building, the idea that these circus bugs are living in a little circus container and got a cool world that they built. I also like I don't remember what it's called exactly, but the miscommunication that the bugs, the circus bugs, think
Mm-hmm.
they're coming to perform,
Yeah.
but
Good little
Flick,
farce.
yeah, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
The Flick and the rest of them think they're warriors, and then them finding out and that they have to be warriors, and
Yeah.
then the bugs finding out. I think is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Um, my favorite part of the movie, I think there's a lot. Like I said, I really like Bugs Life probably more than the average person. I love the Tarzan-esque ending to this. Um, and by that I mean, Tarzan has a really dark ending where I think his name's Clayton, the villain who ends up dying via asphyxiation from vines. He like ends up hanging himself. It's really dark. But he's a really evil guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I love when movies give a horrific ending to a horrific character. And I think Hopper is a legit villain. Like we see throughout the movie that he's terrorizing these ants, not because that's like the natural order of things for them as grasshoppers, but because he wants to keep them down. Because he's creating his own order. And obviously there's like some real metaphors in this movie about, like wealth disparity and the working class versus, the not
Sure.
working class, the white collar versus blue collar. Um, but I just love the ending. It's so satisfying watching
Yeah.
the bird get Hopper and then feed him to the little birds, and they animate the birds really scary. Like they don't have animated features. They animate them hyper realistic, and it's raining and it's dark and it's I don't know. Birds scare me personally. I just don't like birds, and like a giant version of a bird is terrifying, and Hopper gets a really bad ending. And then on top of that, I just think there's like such a great message in the movie, right? I think there's a redeeming quality because right, the easy assumption to jump into, like if I think if this movie was more basic, it would be like grasshoppers are bad. That would be like the sort of takeaway from it. But I love that at the very end you could see Hopper's brother. I forget his name, but he's like the silly, goofy grasshopper.
Yeah.
He joins the circus bugs and he just becomes like a circus bug, and it's implied that like everyone's cool with him. And I like that the message is that like just because he's a grasshopper doesn't mean he's bad, because a lot of this movie in the beginning, all the bugs tell themselves that like, oh, we're ants, we do ant stuff. We're circus bugs, we do circus bug stuff. We're grasshoppers, we do grasshopper stuff, right? And I think the deeper message in the movie is that like it doesn't matter what kind of bug you are. What matters is like the heart. Like it's like it's like a very good message for like I just kids to be like, yeah, like hey, just because you're short doesn't mean you're limited from these things. Like just because you're this kind of kid doesn't mean you can't do this type of thing.
Yeah.
It's a really great message to like break out of like the labels that society like sets on you. Because yeah, it's like they push it so hard at the beginning, like we're ants, we collect food for the grasshoppers come and eat them, and the grasshoppers leave. That's our life.
Mm-hmm.
And Flick, who's like naive for the better, he's like, no, like there's more than life to that. Like what about us? Like we deserve our own life too. We don't have to do that just because we're ants.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that all it took was one bug to break the mold. Who was brave enough, and that little guy was named Flick. I love Flick. All right, what's your least favorite part of the movie?
I felt like the Ada storyline was a little weak.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it just can't. I don't know. I just think it was a little bit like she's just, she's trying to be queen and or learn how to be queen. So she's just annoyed that Flick isn't helpful, or I don't know. I feel like it flip flops back and forth a lot where, oh, Flick, you're like, go ahead and leave. And then, oh, wow, you do have great ideas. And then, oh, well, oh, now it's not going to work. Like, you didn't tell us that they were warriors. Well, now I don't want to do your plan anymore when they've been setting up for his plan the whole time. I don't know. And so I think for me, it just was not my favorite.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I'm not going to elaborate on it because what you talked about is the one thing that I would tweak in the movie. So I'll talk about that next.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you. My least favorite scene is I don't like the bar scene in the city where they're in the can and the flies come around and then right before Flick discovers the circus bugs. I think just like something makes me uneasy. It's like a rusty can. Um, Even like the really funny scene of the mosquito who downs like the drop of blood,
The Bloody Mary.
the bloody Mary, the
Or
O
whatever.
positive Bloody Mary, and collapses. That always made me uncomfortable as a kid, and it still kind of did. Um, and then the flies really gross me out. The flies are so gross. I hate flies in real life. They animate them so gross, which is obviously what they were going for. But like they're hairy, they're fat, they're rude, they're mean. Oh, I really don't like that scene. Um, and then to add like salt to the wound, this time as an adult, I noticed like a really disturbing detail in this scene. But after the can rolls around and like finds them and the circus bugs, um, I think his name is Slim. They take Slim out of like the wreckage and it kind of looks like Sword in the Stone, like a shot. But if you look at the rest of the scene, the bugs, they're not. I don't think they're dead. But I think the animators got lazy. The bugs that are in that bar, that are underneath the pile, they're all piled up underneath the circus bugs. They are completely lifeless. They're like still. They don't move. They're like super stiff. Like I think the animation team just kind of like didn't want to like animate them like breathing or moving around. And then it's the early days of Pixar, so it's probably just too much work to do all that.
Yeah.
So they just like placed a pile of like dead bugs, and it was so uncomfortable watching it as an adult I'm telling you, if you go on Disney Plus, go watch that scene,
Yeah.
and it's just like a bunch of dead cockroaches. It's really gross.
I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like an art. There's like a, I'm sure like a painting or something that
Yeah.
it's imitating.
Mm.
To be fair, just
So
but
you're saying it's intentional that they animated them like corpses?
yes,
It's really disturbing.
I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah.
I just am saying.
I mean, it's really minor too, because the can is like a brown color, and the cockroaches and bugs are all brown. So you honestly don't see it. Like if you're a kid watching this, you would never notice this detail. So it's not that disturbing. Um, but like as an adult watching this, looking for small details, it really disturbed me. So I don't know. I don't like that, man. I don't like it. All right. What's your tweak in the movie?
I don't know. It was really hard to think of something.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I don't know, just because it wasn't like the movie that I was like, oh, really enjoyed it. I don't know. It's hard. I think, but what I came up with was, um, I kind of like that they had that. I don't know, it was like Breaking Bad esque for me in Mexico when whenever the Breaking Bad characters are in Mexico and it's yellow and whatever, like the scene where the grasshoppers were all together and you
Mm-hmm.
got to really see their perspective on everything that
Yeah.
was going on, which I think was a great choice to have a scene where the grasshoppers are so self-aware of the situation and saying it's a precarious, like if the ants figure out that we don't actually like that we're using them, it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty bad for us. So I don't know. I said maybe or scene like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
More of a hopper.
Like another grasshopper scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. My tweak, going back to your criticism of the least favorite part of the movie, I would completely rework Ada's character. I would make Dot her daughter and not her younger sister.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which and I don't know how the bug world works, so maybe that doesn't make sense. But who cares? It's a kids movie. Nobody is doing research on like if she's not the queen, can she even make the ants? Because maybe I don't know.
Maybe it's like these.
Maybe it's like everyone is a child of the queen because she's the queen. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I think Ada would be so much more complex if she was also like a single mother, and like Dot was kind of like we see Dot as like a really adventurous, almost like a wild child. Like she shares a lot of qualities with Flick, which would be worrisome for someone like Ada. And I think being able to watch Ada balance being like a mother to like a wild child with no support while also trying to take on the task of becoming the next queen and keeping the interests of the colony in mind and like just trying to balance like what's best for the colony but what's best for my daughter and like where does this fit in and then like maybe like Flick is like maybe the perfect answer to my problems if I can just trust him because he's a great father to Ada. He also wants what's best for the colony, and like it makes things less overwhelming if I can just like trust him. And we see an arc of like Ada going from like an overwhelmed, anxious, stressed like princess to like, you know what? I'm gonna like put down all my stress and anxieties, and I'm gonna like trust that like this hero of our story is the hero of our story, and he's also like the hero of like my life. I don't know.
I think what makes that such a good point is the fact that the queen, the current queen, their mom, looks like a grandma.
Yeah.
They animated her really old. And then there's what looks to be, because of the size difference and everything, like a very large age gap between Ada and Dot. So you're kind of just like, it's a lot. It's at least a decade.
Yeah.
Of age, and I'm not saying that's not
And
something that
years?
can happen. Yeah. Well, whatever. How they animated them looks like such a big age gap that you kind of think, oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, like maybe if you make Ada like a teenager, it makes more sense.
And there's not enough sisterly sibling relationship between Ada and Dot that makes me think they're sisters.
Yeah, there's nothing between them there.
So
yeah,
I agree with you.
These are some fair criticisms on Bugs Life. All right, let's move on to 1999. This is your birth year.
Birth year movie.
Listeners are either feeling really old or really young right now.
Yeah, or thinking we're either really old or really young.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, so what do you think? Toy Story
Toy Story 2.
2. Toy Story 2.
I need to address a huge issue with Toy Story 2 right off the rip. Where is RC?
Oh my gosh.
RC is such a cool part of the first one. They don't literally without RC they don't make it back to the truck, and they're lost toys forever. RC is a legit hero of the first movie, and he's nowhere to be seen in the second one. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe you see him in the room,
I can't
but
remember.
they essentially replace him with Andy's new dog. Like the dog becomes like the RC stand-in, right? Because like if you think about it, if that dog wasn't there, they probably do that rescue in the beginning with RC instead. You know, you have Woody riding RC or something like that. Anyways, that's a small thing. That's a joke, but I'm a little upset that we just got rid of RC because I thought RC was cool. Toy Story 2 is so much better.
Yeah.
It's so much better. It's like there's a reason why this is the one that like lives in our mind. The characters are so much more complex. I think I said like I feel like the characters are just played for gags in the first one. In this one, I actually get to see the traits that you're talking about. You know, Slinky Dog is loyal. Rex is anxious. You know, Woody is a selfless leader. Buzz is like your best friend who you can rely and trust. He's trustworthy and like a real hero. You know, like all these little things are just clicking. I think you nailed it. You made a point that there isn't like a lot of ensemble work in the first one. And it's 100% true. Like when you compare it to Toy Story 2, like this feels like an ensemble movie with your leads.
This feels like toys are playing, you know.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, like in the same way that, you know, there are certain Star Wars movies that feel like, oh yeah, like there was war happening in space.
Yeah.
And there's other Star Wars movies that feel like, oh, that was not like cool at all.
Yeah.
Like Toy Story feels like, oh, this is a story about toys. Not just this individual like playthings that sneak off for an adventure. Like this is a grandiose, like epic story about toys in the real human world. So it's so good. The action is good. I think Toy Story 1 doesn't have a lot of good action. Like outside of the truck scene at the end with RC, there's like not good action in Toy Story 1. And this movie has like nonstop action from the beginning. Like it's got the cold open, the Star Wars-esque open with the video game with Buzz.
Yeah.
It's got the traffic sequence with the cones. It's got all the stuff in Alice Toy Barn. It's got the elevator scene.
Yeah.
It's got the really epic airport scene at the end with the luggage. It's just like nonstop action at a really high level. It's legit peak. And then you round that out with some really awesome like emotional scenes too, with Jesse's story of Emily, aka you, abandoning her, and it's sad. Like it just, you know, it's Toy Story 2 has it all. It's so amazing. It's really good. Those are my thoughts. What about you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Toy Story 2, surprisingly, because I, for some reason in my head, had it that Toy Story 2 was not that good, and it was overrated because of Jessie and her storyline, and that it wasn't going to be as enjoyable. But wow, it was way better. Not even than I thought, but like it was a really good movie. It's a lot of fun. There's like a lot of pop culture references and, you know, different things like you had mentioned the Star Wars and everything. What's interesting is that Pixar used to be the animated portion of Lucasfilm.
Oh.
Like they were the branch of Lucasfilm.
Okay, I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, it was like very
like early on.
Definitely before Disney had bought them, all that stuff. Which is why I think, I don't know for sure, but why I assume that they can do all that Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Because now you'd have to pay so
Well,
much.
I mean, they don't technically, like,
they use the little Darth Vader noises, like the breathing noises.
And they do use some laser.
I mean, they're like almost plagiarizing by saying I'm your father.
But they do it like in the style of parody, which they could get away with even if they didn't have the licensing. Like, yeah, outside of maybe like some very specific sound effects, which they do use. They do use like the laser sounds.
They also use the lightsaber sound.
Yeah.
During the video game when they get to the batteries.
Yeah. So like outside of the sound design, like I think they're okay because it's just like in the spirit of parody.
Like.
But you're right, it is super inspired.
Yeah, and along with that, the Jurassic Park scene
Mm,
was also very, I think, somehow involved. Like I
yeah.
think they were a part of Pixar or whatever. I
Interesting.
don't remember exactly. I'm not gonna don't quote me on it, but I know that the team that did Jurassic Park also was either a part of like Lucasfilm or Pixar or whatever it was. A lot of the same people worked on the Toy Story stuff, which is why I think it's so funny that scene of the
The
when they're
rats
in,
chasing the
yeah,
car.
and you get that. I think I don't know. I thought it was a lot of fun to see, like as we were talking about now as an
Yeah.
adult. Oh wow, like that's in here, that's in here. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, like things that you
Yeah.
um don't expect.
Yeah,
And
because
so
you were a little bit more sheltered, so you didn't even understand those references when they came out.
no, absolutely.
Like I was for sure watching Jurassic Park as a little kid.
To an extent, I'm sure I understood the Star Wars stuff,
Yeah,
but the Jurassic Park in my
that's
head.
so funny. All right, what's your favorite part of the movie?
Mm, I think you kind of covered it, but the action was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed watching the scene where they're trying to cross the street under
So
the
good.
cones was a lot of like
The
really
final
funny.
the Final Destination 2 scene.
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean. Like that's another like maybe it's probably not a real reference they were using, and I don't even know
Yeah,
how to
no,
say
Final
apply that to
Destination
that.
1 was 2001, right
But
before
like
9/11, and this is
that
99.
that still feels so reminiscent of
Mm-hmm.
the wood falling off the
The
truck
truck
or
and
whatever.
stuff like
You
that.
know?
There's a really funny Easter egg in that scene. If you look in the background after the toys cross, two ladies that got in a car accident are like legit fighting. They're like
Yeah, they're
pushing
like
each other
yelling at
and
each
yelling.
other.
That's really funny.
Uh, but that scene is fun to me. I think. I mean, when I think of Toy Story 2, I think of Bullseye running under the plane
Mm,
and them jumping onto Bullseye's back. You know, like
yeah,
I think the action is what makes this movie a lot of fun.
yeah, really memorable. Yeah,
Hmm.
good point. I really like Woody's fix up scene. I think that always stuck with me as a kid. I think there was something so satisfying, just aesthetically pleasing as a kid. Um, and it stuck
Of
with
course,
everyone. Like
yeah.
everyone talks about that scene. Everyone loves that scene.
I just have to pick it.
Sorry. And I was trying to think about it like even more deeply. I was like, is there something more to this scene that really stuck with me? And I was like, maybe there's a small possibility that the reason that I am not anxious is because of this scene. Like,
Your whole psyche based on this
my
one
whole
scene.
psyche could be based on this one scene. Because if you think about it, though, like worst case scenario happened. Woody's arm fell off. Like that's the worst thing. We start the movie with a small tear that leads to Woody
Yeah.
being shelved, which leads to like real concerns from Woody of like he's never gonna play with me again. And then his arm completely falls off, which would confirm Woody's like worries about him never being played with again. Like at that point, he's like like it's time to go to the garbage can, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and instead, what ends up happening is he ends up getting fixed, and he comes out like a better version of himself than he ever was. So there's a small possibility that that scene as a kid made me believe that like even the worst things will turn out okay. So it's possible that this like cured the anxiety that I never had as a kid. So yeah, that's my favorite scene. It's a very glass half full way to look at
The scene.
the scene. Yeah, exactly.
So then what's your least favorite?
I don't know how I feel about the prospector. I I don't like him as a kid. I didn't care for him as a villain. I think he's actually kind of a because he ends up being like a twist.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's kind of like just a lame twist villain. It's kind of poor. Um, I think he's almost exclusively written to have the luggage scene at the end of the movie
Mm.
because obviously you can't have Al running.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think you can. I don't know. I just don't like him as a villain. I think you can make the prospector a good guy and have the toys shipped off to the airport anyways,
Mm.
and have that airport escape happen without the prospector trying to stop them. Like it could be the toys fighting against the mechanisms of the airport rather than
Sure.
fighting against the prospector. I don't know. I think he's kind of a weak villain. I also don't like the Barbie he gets stuck with at the end of the movie. It always freaked me out as a kid when she turns and her face is all painted, and it just creeped me out as a kid, and I still don't like it. Like I feel bad for the prospector, who I already don't like, but the little Barbie freaks me out. What about you?
I don't know. It's hard to pick because this is one of the best movies of the ones we've watched, and so it's really hard for me to come up with a least favorite. Uh, least favorite. I I think I agree with you about all the prospector stuff. Um, I don't know. I think it was always hard because I'm so emotional. I was emotional. It was always one of the reasons I didn't want to like this movie was the Jesse plotline. And I don't. You can ask me why, and I don't have an answer.
Did she just annoy you?
I think she just
she's
bothered.
too much of a crybaby.
Maybe. I think it was just a lot. I was always like.
How did you feel about your name being the one that abandoned her? It was Emily. Emily this, Emily that.
Maybe that was part of it. Maybe I was like, I would never do something like that. Got offended. Who knows?
That's fair.
I don't know. So I think, and now watching it again, I'm like, well, like it's valid. She doesn't want to go back into storage, but it felt very like guilt trip. Like you have to come with us just so we don't have to, I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think if you write Jesse a little stronger, because Woody does make the choice to go with them to Japan.
And Woody never wants to make Jesse sad or like go back into storage, and it just takes him a little too long to realize why don't you come with me?
Yeah.
Because like if he had come up with that plot a little sooner, I mean obviously you wouldn't have the plot in the movie then, but like it's never Woody's intention to not let a toy be played.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I think you would get some. Yeah, I do. I agree with you. I think Jesse's written a little poorly, a little once. All right, let's tweak this movie. We get one tweak, or maybe two, maybe 1.5.
I think you made really good points about the prospector, and I think initially that would have been my answer.
Mm-hmm.
I think just a really silly little thing.
Yeah.
That I said is how do these toys drive a whole luggage train through this out of the airport, nonetheless, but through the city back to Andy's house?
Yeah, it's a pretty big jump. I mean, we do see that it goes from night to morning, so it's possible that it took them all night to get there. Yeah. I think it's a little lazy to just have it like fade to Andy's house. Yeah. With the transport, and like there was a lot of adventure left. And the answer is probably there's not enough runtime to do all that stuff.
And of course, like you're just trying to get to the end of the movie. That's a funny way to get to the end of the movie, but like
it is a little inconsistent how the toys choose to like expose themselves to the real world. Mm-hmm. I think that's actually one of my biggest tweak is less Prospect or more Al. I think Al's a really good villain. Really interesting. I would have Al be a bigger part of the movie and have the Prospector be a smaller part of the movie. Or just like I said, have the Prospector not be a villain. Like we see that like the toys' real issues with humans. Like if they had their own worlds, like they would just be kind of having fun and chilling. Like humans is what makes or breaks a toy, right? Like when you have the Sids of the world, when you have the Als of the world, versus when you have the Andys of the world. Later in the movie, when you have the Bonnies of the world, like they're like it's really a flip of a coin how a toy's life goes depending on the human. So I think just like making the Prospector the main villain at the end, like have that be the reveal is I don't know, not my favorite. So I would change that, and then I would address some like weird universe building stuff with like the toys' abilities and like I don't know, like why do they choose to go limp in front of a human?
How does Bullseye run as fast as an airplane?
That is
the world
so
may
true.
Never know.
That is so true. I was like, what? As a kid,
you literally called it out.
I was like, what? I was like, that's not. Now, if it was RC, I might believe it. But Bullseye, get out of here. All right, cool.
Okay.
All right, we're moving on to 2001 Monsters Inc. And yes, if you're wondering, this is after 9/11, not before 9/11.
But they would probably have to have the big.
Oh, of course, but it was released November 2nd of 2001. But actually, like pretty like soon after 9/11. I actually wonder. I didn't look it up. and I don't want to look it up now. But I wonder how well this did at the box office. I wouldn't be surprised if after something like 9/11 that people like really went out and saw Monsters Inc. to
And now
like
I'm curious. I
take
want you to look it up.
take their mind off of it. All right, let's see.
While you look it up, I'll start my thoughts.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the movie?
This kind of like I mentioned at the top, but this movie is one of the classics for me growing up. We'd watch it a lot of mornings at the daycare that I went to before school. One of the movies, this one and Narnia, were the movies that she put on for us before school. So the opening scene with the doors, the opening song, are seared in my brain. And I love the world. I love the world building. I love that these monsters live in a society and you get to see that society. And, you know, you have such diverse monsters. You have small monsters, little monsters, new monsters that fall through grates.
Okay, Dr. Seuss, my bad.
Anyways, I don't know. I think it's like you see them walking through their town and they have a whole ecosystem. I don't know. That's just
nice. Okay, so I have some box office numbers for you. Now, I'm not going to say that 9/11 was responsible for Monsters Inc.'s success, but Monsters Inc. was the first Pixar movie to ever surpass $500 million at the box office. It ended up making $577. It was Pixar's biggest success at the time. The first one to surpass the 500 million number. And I would not be surprised if people just wanted to take their minds off of 9/11. A lot of kids saw 9/11 happen, or were like aware of it because it was on a school morning.
Yeah.
I think it's very possible that parents, because this is less than a month after 9/11 that this comes out. Oh,
October.
Sorry. I got my
month. It's a little,
never mind.
A little longer than a month.
Okay.
Slightly, only.
But you know what? I doubt there are a lot of good movies coming out in October of 2001 to take your kids to. So I bet people were jumping. I would be really interested in talking to someone that's older than us, and maybe was like a parent during like that with an early child during this, because yeah, it would make sense that like people flocked out to see this movie.
You'd have to find someone who's a little older than my parents.
Yeah.
But also though, if you think about it, you had Toy Story, Bugs Life, Toy Story. This is the next newest IP that Pixar has created. So I'm sure that also helped.
Yeah. That's a good transition into my thoughts too on this movie. You mentioned the world building. The world building is really good. This is the first time that Pixar dips their toes into like, I don't want to discredit them and say real world building.
Non-human.
But like, yeah, this is the first movie that doesn't take place in like a human's world. So like they have to do everything from scratch. Like for Bugs Life, you know, they can for Bugs Life and Toy Story, like it's really easy for them to just like build a tiny universe within the human's universe with something that they're familiar with. But this is the first time where they're like, we can't rely on the human world like at all. We have to make everything from scratch from the beginning. And they do like such a fun job with it and knock it out of the park. I mentioned this at the top of the episode, but Mike and Sully, I think, have the best chemistry in this first decade. Even if you don't think they're the best duo, they definitely have the best chemistry. They just like get along so well. There's a line that really bothers me. I think the line is fine, but it bothers me because at the start of the movie,
I think you're bringing up a plot hole.
Yes, I'm bringing up a plot hole for Monsters University. Mike says to Sully that
he's been jealous of him since the 4th grade or something.
Yeah, but then in freaking Monsters University, they meet on the college campus.
What the heck? Enemies.
What the heck, man? What the heck? So, anyways, I need to rewatch Monsters U. We'll get to that episode another time.
I think it's in the next decade.
It might be in the next decade. I think you're right. So, yeah, Boo is like a really good glue character in the movie. She adds tension to Mike and Sully, which is important because it enriches their friendship. Right? Like, you can't have a good friendship without a little bit of tension. And without Boo, there is no tension. So she's like the glue that brings them together and also tears them apart. So she's such a good character. She's done so well in terms of children in Pixar. She's like way better than Jack Jack, I would say. She's a little older than Jack Jack, but Boo was awesome. I think Randy Newman's score is really good. I think this is his best work out of the
he did the first 4 movies.
He was a composer for the first 4 movies, and I think this is by far his best work. And then one more little thing, Jennifer Tilly. She's Celia in this movie, which is so funny to me. Like that's not something I would have ever known as a kid. I had no idea who Jennifer Tilly was. But now as an adult, she's the bride of Chucky. She's in a lot of other things. So her voice is so like iconic. And as soon as we started Monsters Inc., I'm like, that's Jennifer Tilly. What the heck? So really good casting there.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of the movie?
I think loved watching them walk to work. I'm just like I'm a world person. Like you get me by showing me that you have a really interesting, cool world to live in.
Yeah.
And so that's one I always I don't know what was it, but oh, the Harryhausen scene, getting to see them. That's the name of the sushi restaurant.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
I always wanted to go to that restaurant.
That's so funny.
It's so good.
Maybe that's why you grew up to like sushi.
Maybe.
Just like Toy Story 2 cured my anxiety, Monsters Inc. Instilled a appetite for sushi in you.
Craving.
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked how it's just little things. I liked how can I have some odorants? What flavor do you want? You've got wet dog.
Wet dog.
Low tide.
Low tide. That's so funny.
So.
Yeah, really clever script.
Like you have the Monsters world is its own world. But it's still you see the human they have their own paper and TV commercials and all that stuff, and so I think that they have their own version of the CDC.
Yeah, the CDA.
So for me, it's just like the world building is my.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. The voice acting work is also really good. John Goodman as Sully is really good.
Oh, you got classic voice acting.
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi is so good as Randall. Me neither. As a kid, you're like, who cares?
What the heck?
Literally, yeah, that's another one that you clock right away. You're like, that's Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi's Randall?
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi has always been Randall?
Yeah.
How come nobody told me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Billy Crystal, shout out. He's a Clipper fan. Shout out Billy Crystal. He's so good as Mike Wazowski. Yeah, just this whole movie's firing on like all cylinders. It's really, really good Pixar. My favorite part of the movie is the last act. I think it's really good. Like starting with like the door chase. This movie doesn't have a ton of action. It's got like fun sequences. Like you have the sushi sequence. You have Boo going to work sequence. You have Boo at the house, at the apartment with Mike and Sully. But you don't have like a ton of action. And the last act, starting with like the door chase, is really good action. Like I said, we were watching it this morning, and like my hands and feet were like clamming. Yeah, they were sweating because I was like, this is stressful, man. This is stressful, and it's so creative with like Boo powering up the doors and them going through the doors, and it's just like a really, really fun scene.
You see him going in and out of different areas of the world.
Yeah, we get to see like a little bit of the human world. Okay, a small critique: the animation inside the human worlds there was a little lazy. Like a lot of them.
It looks like Toy Story again.
A lot of them were just like paintings. It was like one-dimensional or two-dimensional paintings of like we get to see like Hawaii and like France and maybe a few others, but the sets in those are pretty lazy. That's a really small critique. And then obviously that wraps up with like it's like nonstop until like Mr. Waternoose gets arrested and they force or not, they don't force, but Sully brings Boo home and they say their goodbyes, and that's a really some of Pixar's best like work when it comes to like emotional payoff and like tugging at the heartstrings, which is something they get addicted to. I think for the worse moving forward. I think Pixar gets addicted to the tugging at the heartstrings.
Yeah.
But this is a good case of it.
Hmm.
This is one of the good ones they do. So I think that's my favorite part of the movie. It's multiple parts, but that last act is incredible. And say that again. Incredible.
Um, so now we stay.
You want to go first? I don't like the CDA wrap up, but the whole solution to the overarching plot I think is a little lazy. Roz being in charge is weird. Roz is like a funny gag character. It's weird giving her like a big role. Like, Mike Wazowski. Turns out I was in charge of the whole thing.
She was undercover. She said 2 to 3 years,
2 to 3 years.
blown.
You almost ruined this whole operation. That was too much on my throat. Um, it's also like weird. Like Mr. Waternoose's like arrest doesn't make like a ton of sense. Like he said he would kidnap children to save the company. I don't know. It's typical like CEO stuff. Like I don't know if that's like enough to arrest them. And then too many implications about like what happens to the factory while I'm there. I think similar to retconning the prospector to not having me be a villain.
Mm.
I think, and I'm gonna combine my tweak here as well. My tweak of the movie would be to not make Waternoose a villain, have Randall be like a jealous psycho sociopath that is working alone, trying to reinvent scare energy, and is like working solo with his little buddy, kidnapping kids from their doors, which is a huge violation of like CDA regulations.
Yeah.
And then have Sully and Mike expose that plot while rescuing Boo, while exposing him to Waternoose, and then Waternoose realizing like, hey, Mike Sully, like you guys, thank you so much. You saved our company. Had this gone out to the public, had Randall gotten away with this stuff, he would have ruined Monsters Inc. You guys saved Monsters Inc. And I want to change the way we do things in the company moving forward. Like, what did you discover in your adventure? Oh, Mr. Waternoose, we actually found out that laughter is 10 times better than screams. And then because now they have an in with the CEO of the company, they're able to change the whole landscape of the energy crisis happening in Monster Tropolis. So, anyways, that's my least favorite part of the movie, and that's my one tweak that I would make. What about you?
I disagree with your thought because I feel like they set up really well that Monsters Inc. is not doing a great job because now screams are like they make it in the plot very well that like the screams are not as strong anymore and what are they gonna do? How are they gonna help us? And I feel like it makes a lot of sense. You have the CEO of the company worried the company's tanking, and so he employs some heinous crime to start happening.
Yeah.
But
it is real to the real world. Like, that's what would happen in the real world. Is the evil billionaire CEO would do some weird plot behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also gonna combine my least favorite part and the tweak. The scare machine and kidnapping kids does not make sense to me. The logistics of that, I don't because you can't kidnap that many unless they're pulling and they have multiple of these machines, like how they're lined up on the scare floor to go in and scare kids. Unless they have that, multiple of those, and they're bringing the kid in, doing it, and sending him back. Like logistically, I don't understand how any of that would work, and ethically is weird.
Yeah.
So I think having this, them trying to test out this whole thing of getting the kid trying to test him, like all of it just doesn't really. And I feel like, well.
Yeah, it's not a good long-term solution for their problems. Exactly. You're right. And like even if you base it off the opening montage when they're scaring the kids, like that, like the scare machine seems clunkier and slower than what they were doing in the beginning.
And I don't know how you extract screams. That's what the machine is supposed to do.
Yeah. No, it's weird. Yeah. Yeah. It's better for us not to think about it too much. All right, let's move on. 2003, Finding Nemo. You want to start us off?
This movie is I mean, I feel like people have heard me say this a lot recently, but this is the first movie I remember seeing in movie theaters. Um, I think I had wanted to sit in the front row, and so I made my parents watch this movie in the front row with me,
That's so funny.
not knowing. And I'm sure they told me, they're like, it's not the best way, but no, we have to.
That's such a 4-year-old
Um,
thing to do. Like,
and
yeah,
then
I
after
want to sit in the
that,
front row.
I realized, yeah, you're right. It's probably not the best thing to sit in the front row of a movie theater, but
Fast forward 10 years,
I get
then
forced to see Man of Steel in the front
then you're
row,
watching Man of Steel in
and
the front
that
row and you
also
hate it.
traumatized me. Um, no, but this is like I remember seeing it in movie theaters. I remember having the DVD and watching this movie over time. Um, I think when you think of Finding Nemo, you think of the music
Mm-hmm.
with the like sweeping shots of
Mm-hmm.
the open ocean and the coral reef.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so for me, like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah. I have like a pretty high compliment for Finding Nemo. Which I kind of like was thinking about. We watched Finding Nemo last night, and I was thinking about it last night and this morning. But like what the Wizard of Oz was to the film industry, Finding Nemo was to like 21st century animation. Like this is the Wizard of Oz of animation. Um, because it's just like yeah, like you said, it's so majestic. Like it's such a technical like feat
mm-hmm,
um of like what animation could be. It's so like um what's the word? It's like it's so inspiring. It's so um I'm looking for a word. Maybe I wrote it down here in my notes. Um, I don't know. It's just like it's not aggressive. The word is not aggressive. It's a different word. Um, ambitious. It's so
mm-hmm,
ambitious.
mm-hmm.
Very very ambitious, and it like succeeds in how ambitious it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a technical masterpiece. It's got a tremendous score, insane visuals, really good comedy, a really good message. It's got emotional depth. It's got good action. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything that has made Pixar movies good up to this point, it combined all of them
Mm-hmm.
while going like above and
Mm-hmm.
beyond. The cold opening is really good with Coral, Marlin's wife,
Yeah.
Nemo's mom, and the fish
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning. It's just like it's
Yeah.
so dark, and it's good that they start that dark because they can kind of like slowly get away from that as the movie goes.
Yeah.
Like, but
Sorry, what I was gonna say more behind the scenes. What's interesting about that is that that's not how the movie was meant to start. But like with the animators watching and test audiences, Marlon was so unlikable, and you don't understand
why?
why. Because I think that flashback maybe was either later in the movie
Interesting.
or like they added it later on, and people like disliked Marlon so much and didn't
Yeah.
understand why he was the way he was, but they realized that they needed to put it at the beginning
Okay.
so you could see like, oh,
That's a great decision on their part because Marlon is really
mm-hmm,
Marlon is awful. He's like just such a helicopter dad. He's not funny for a clownfish. Um, like I did not remember. I've always disliked Dory. I think Finding Dory damaged her forever for me.
yeah,
So coming back to this movie in a post Finding Dory world, I thought Dory was going to be really annoying, and I was surprised to find out that Dory is actually fine. She's likable, and she's like perfectly fine. And it's actually Marlin who's really obnoxious in this
mm,
movie. So I'm glad they added that scene. It doesn't fix like how annoying Marlin
yeah,
is, um, but it definitely makes sense. We kind of talked about how like we don't get a backstory on Woody at the start of Toy Story,
mm-hmm,
and it kind of makes him like
mm-hmm,
emotionally shallow. And I could totally see that being the case with Marlin without this back. Like if he
mm-hmm,
just happened to be a helicopter dad without a backstory, it would have been like a little bit more rough. So that's super interesting.
yeah,
Um, Another thought. This is not my least favorite part or my tweak. This is just like a thought. I hope people don't get their pitchforks out. I actually don't think this movie flows very well. I think
Yeah.
I said a lot of good things about this movie, which I do stand on, but I think a lot of these, like a lot of the good stuff about Finding Nemo are like technical achievements. I think from like a pure like story and script perspective, I think the movie doesn't flow very well. I think it's very choppy. Um, the editing, I have a huge problem with the way this movie's edited. I think it's just edited poorly. It's a lot of the movie is Marlin and Dory encounter a problem. They get past it. Then we cut to Nemo in the tank. We have a little bit of scenes there. Then we cut back to Finding Dory. They reach the next level. Like it feels like a video game. The whole movie feels like a video game where it's like you get to a boss, you defeat the boss, and then you cut to Nemo, and then you jump back into another boss fight with Marlin and Dory, and then we cut to Nemo, and we do that back and forth until like they get together at the end. So like to me, it's not even like a pacing issue. I think just it's like really choppy, and like, there's some really weird edits in the movie.
I think this transitions well into my favorite aspect of the movie because I can see where you're coming from, but I kind of see that differently. I think, you have, like you said, Marlon, who's a helicopter dad, who is very codependent in some ways on his son, and I think you get a really great movie of both Nemo learning like how to trust in himself and be his own fish. And then you have Marlin learning the world is scary and dangerous, but I can still, I don't know, not defeat it, but like he's like also growing and, you know, going on this journey of self discovery and whatever. And so for me, I really enjoy that you get the two separate storylines of them learning.
Yeah.
And then just in terms of like scenes that I thought were funny, I think the scene where um once Marlin and Dory finally get there with Nigel the Pelican, and he like throws them into the room, and you have Darla screaming because there's a fish in her hair, and ever like the dentist knocks himself out, and then you see from the other side the fish tank, the kid who already seems scared to be at the dentist, and he's just like, what?
Another Final Destination esque
Yes.
scene. No, maybe I'm gonna make like a supercut of similarities between Final Destination and Pixar.
That was one of
my Nice. Favorite part of the movie? That was? Okay.
That was me.
Transitioning into favorite part of the movie. Sorry, loud motorcycle driving by. Okay, my favorite part of the movie. I critiqued this movie for bad editing. I'm gonna praise it for good editing. Good editing. My favorite part of the movie is the best editing in the movie by far. It's after. It's when they're the whale. It's before the whale. It's when they're with the turtles, right? So the rumor mill starts of like, hey, did you hear about this clownfish and his companion Dory? They fought a shark, and and you have these fades into like the news traveling around like the fish world, and you get like these different vignettes of like different fish and different environments, biomes, until it gets to like the crabs and it gets to the birds and like the lobsters and it's like the dolphins. Yes, it's done really, really, really well, and it eventually culminates with it getting to Nigel the pelican, who then goes to the office to like tell Nemo of like the adventure of his dad that's coming to rescue him. And it's done so well, so poetically, and it like caps off with like such an emotional beat of Nemo being initially in disbelief because he's like, that's not my dad. You don't know my dad. Like my dad would never swim across the ocean. Like he's almost like he's sad that he doesn't have a father that would rescue him, and then him slowly coming to the realization that like, wait, that is my dad. That's my dad.
And then you see this it's such like I get chills thinking about
Hmm.
an animated fish
Yeah.
child, but like the shot because it's Nigel talking, but it's a shot on Nemo,
Yes, you're looking at Nemo
and
taking
he's
the information.
like like oh my gosh, like
Yeah, and this is after Nemo almost died doing
yeah, yeah, the
this like
first time his
filter
shark did.
operation, and he's so inspired. He's so like he's feeling like this wave of like courage that he
Yeah,
does it again, and he like
immediately.
immediately succeeds.
Yeah.
And that's just like that was really I love that part of the movie. As someone who like didn't grow up with like a dad who could inspire him,
Mm.
as an adult, I don't think this scene stuck with me as a child, but as an adult watching this, like I don't know what that feels like. I don't know what it's like to have like a dad that inspired me as a kid.
Mm.
You know, my relationship with my dad is much better now as an adult,
Yeah.
but like as a child, I didn't have that. Um, so like watching this, I'm like, wow, that's really awesome. Like I can't wait for the shoes to be on the other side. Like I can't wait for me to be a dad
Mm-hmm.
and like inspire my child in like the same way that like Marlon inspired me.
Mm.
I think it's a really really beautiful scene. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about our least favorite parts of the movie. You have anything?
I felt like the ending. So Nemo escapes, but Marlin thinks he's dead, and so I think that last ending sequence, like once Nemo gets into the ocean again to essentially the end of the movie, is a little weirdly paced and just like
Mm-hmm.
not my favorite.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the movie I feel is very strong,
Yeah.
personally, and so that would be my
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of goes back into the editing and pacing and choppy part. You're right. Like
mm-hmm.
it's like we have this like momentum going throughout the whole movie. We're climbing. We're climbing. We're climbing. We're climbing. We get Marlon and Dory in the office in the Pelican. Things are happening
Yeah.
everywhere. Gil is almost dying. Willem Dafoe voices Gil.
Oh yeah, I
So
know.
good. Um, so yeah, the father that stepped up to Nemo in the fish tank,
Mm-hmm.
is almost dying on the dentist table.
Yeah.
Like you have all this like awesome rising action, and it doesn't culminate in a resolution.
Mm-hmm.
It like everything just kind of like stops, and then we have to wait a few more minutes for like
More.
for the actual
Yeah.
reunion, and yeah. So yeah, you're right. The ending there is a little weird. Um, yeah, I kind of shared my least favorite parts already. I think just
Mm-hmm.
that plus like the overall editing, I think is not very strong.
Mm-hmm.
There are some flashbacks that I think are a little bit redundant. Um, but other than that, like I said, I think the peaks of this movie are so good that it kind of overwrites any like critiques that I would have of it. Um, and then that was also your tweak, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I would have for like outside of what I've already critiqued it. I don't know what I would tweak to the movie. Um, I think the Bruce scene, and I don't know how you rewrite this differently, but I think the Bruce sequence comes too early in the movie
Mm.
and isn't long enough. As a kid, I remember that being like a much bigger part of the movie because it's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's so awesome. It's so like
It's so important.
I'm a big believer in like as a kid, like experiencing like a tiny bit of like adrenaline through fear. Not like anything crazy. You're not gonna take your kid to watch Conjuring Last Rites, but like the Bruce scene is such a perfect example of like being just like a little bit scary as a kid
Yeah.
because you're underwater, it's dark, and there is a great white shark. Like that is like a scary like premise, and I think stuff like that really emboldens kids to not be afraid of the real world and to
Mm-hmm.
like try new things, you know.
Yeah.
So that scene I really liked as a kid, and as an adult, I was disappointed to find out like how short it was and how early in the movie it came.
Mm.
So I don't know if there's a way to like make it more towards the middle of the movie and make it like a little bit longer. I would love to see more Bruce and sharks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, we're almost there. 2004.
The
Ba-dum, bum, bum,
The Incredibles.
The Incredibles.
Right, what were your thoughts?
This is so good. This movie is like head and shoulders above the rest of the movies, which is crazy because there are some really good movies. Um, Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo are all really good, and this just like is like on a different level.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to like we watched Incredibles first.
Mm-hmm.
If we could go back, I would want to watch this last. to really see if like it actually is better than the rest of them. But just like looking at my notes, I think it is.
Yeah, even I mean it's like thinking about the other movies, we I would always in my mind like Incredibles is still better.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like it's got all the technical aspects of Nemo, but with like a really really good script. It's got a better script than Nemo, and it's got some really really good action. It
Hmm.
was nominated for best screenplay in 2004. I think it even could have been nominated for best picture in 2004. I was looking at the
That's
noms,
crazy.
and there were some good movies in '04. I think Million Dollar Baby won the Oscar. Ray was nominated, and then there's one more that I've seen that was nominated that I forgot. And then there's two that I never heard of or seen. Easily Incredibles could have been like a Best Picture nom in 2004. The voice acting work is so good. The stylization of like the world that it's in, like it's set in
Hmm.
the human world, but it's not our human world. So
Hmm.
like it's it's legit world building. They create their own universe in this
Yeah.
retro futuristic aesthetic, and it's so clean.
Hmm.
It's so clean. The family dynamics are so well. Um, the family is written so authentically. It's so good. I do think watching this as an adult and as a husband now, I was like a little bit alarmed. I was a little bit disappointed to see how bad of a husband Bob is, Mr. Incredible.
Yeah.
He is a bit of a selfish husband. He's not a very good husband or father.
Yeah.
And even the through line of him becoming a better father and a better husband, but only because he gets to be a super again, is like a little bit like cringe to me. Because I'm like, dude, like you don't need to be a superhero to be a good dad or a good husband. We got to work on that.
I think by the end though he realizes
Yeah, like
he has
there's
his
a legit
monologue and then
yes, there is a legit arc. Um, but yeah, as a husband today, right now, watching that, I was like, that was a little bit like, oh man, like I kind of idolize you more than I
hmm
should have as a kid, dude.
hmm
I love that they're not afraid of death in this movie. It's like grounded in some good
yeah.
realism. The Elastigirl scenes are still the best stretching powers we've ever seen on the big screen.
Hmm.
This is right after watching Fantastic Four a month and a half ago, and we were watching Incredibles, and we are like,
It's
wow,
better.
this is like not even like they did such a bad job with Mr. Fantastic's
Hmm.
stretching powers.
Hmm.
Like they could have just done everything that Elastigirl did in this movie, and he would have been so much cooler. So
Yeah.
they really set the standard for like superhero movies.
Yeah, it was really fun to see how Elastigirl used her stretching powers, not just to stretch, but like she made herself into a parachute a bunch. She made
Hmm.
herself into a boat. Um, and Mr. Fantastic barely can stretch.
Yep.
So
Literally, that really famous scene where Elastigirl stretched across the hallways and the doors are closing.
that's more stretch than
She was stretched out super wide, and you made the point. You're like, she's stretching more than Mr. Fantastic when Galactus. Spoilers alert! When Galactus was pulling him
stretching him.
apart,
Yeah,
and I was like, you're right.
yeah.
What's that all about? Anyways, what are your thoughts on Incredibles? I know you got a lot.
I mean, I think that you covered a lot of it already. I think, but honestly, this was made in that era where you have a lot of um, like kids movies coming out that also are reach reachable for adults,
Hmm.
and this one fits perfectly in that era. Like, yeah, there's a lot of I don't know, a lot of it that just is like, oh, this is really enjoyable and fun to watch even still now. Um, Everything was just perfect about it. I felt like the music, the scripts, the action.
Yeah. Did you give it 5 stars on
I did.
Letterboxd? I did as well. Yeah. So
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 spoiler alert,
this is
but
um this is like a perfect movie for both of us.
yeah.
What's your favorite part of the movie?
I don't even know that I could pick one specific
Yeah.
moment. Um, I really enjoy on okay, I will say I think that when they finally are on the island all together and you see them using their powers all together as a
Hmm.
family, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. That's my favorite part of the movie as well. For anyone listening, I have some homework for you guys. Maybe you already know this. Maybe you grew up around the same time that I did. But in the 2000s, there was most of you guys will be familiar with Boomerang. You watched a little bit of Boomerang, I think.
Like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, it was like a Boomerang was essentially like a Cartoon
Cartoon Network.
Network's like smaller network that like showed like classic cartoons.
The Flintstones,
Exactly.
Jetsons.
Yep. All those that good stuff. But Boomerang was really known for like their transitions in between. Like when you weren't watching,
They're so good.
they had so many good like it just like
Yeah.
transitions and stuff like that. And one of those transitions is a short. It's like a 2 minute short of Johnny Quest on like a board game adventure. And that short, go home and watch it. Just look it up, Johnny Quest short Boomerang. Um, that short is so I don't know which one came first, but it's almost identical to my favorite scene in The Incredibles, which is the whole island adventure with Dash running through the water, through the jungle, with Violet, and then them ending up together as a family at the end, and we get the superhero shot of them together in the jungle, and they're all using their powers. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. It's so good. But like, there's so many similarities between that Johnny Quest short and that scene in The Incredibles. Like, I am so curious to know as to like which one came first, and like if they had any inspiration off of each other, because it's so good. But anyways, like rewatching that scene as an adult made me really nostalgic for that, like my childhood, because I'm like, oh, this is like Boomerang. Like I feel like I'm watching Johnny Quest on Boomerang. It's so well done. It's so well done. The score, the pacing, pure adrenaline. I feel like it's Brad Bird at his finest. Like he's really good in this.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite part of the movie?
I mean, the whole cheating, but not really cheating subplot, not my favorite.
Yeah, okay.
It is weird for sure. Well, I don't know. Yeah, like why did there have to be tension between in general, just between Mirage and Mr. Incredible?
Yeah.
No, there doesn't need to be.
I addressed that in my tweak.
And that would probably be my tweak.
Okay, so I think we're on the same page for the tweak. Okay, so I'll share my least favorite part first. I don't know if this is unpopular, but I have never cared for Edna Mode.
Fair.
Like, I'm sorry, I don't find her funny. I even find her a little bit annoying, and she bothered me as a kid, and on the rewatch, she still like annoys me. I think Edna Mode is just kind of like millennial cringe. Like I think like Edna Mode feels one of those things that like millennials love to quote and act like, and they're like so enthralled by her. And obviously, you know, I'm right on the border, but I'm definitely Gen Z. Um, and I was just watching her, and I was like, I just don't care for Edna Mode.
I don't mind her in the first one, but I get that for sure more in the second one.
Yeah. And then my one tweet to the movie. Okay, so I'm gonna address your issue with the movie, with the subplot, the cheating subplot. I don't mind Bob's solo adventure as a metaphor for an affair.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna do something like that in a kids movie, that's the way to do it.
Sure.
To have it be a metaphor, like you know, you're not actually gonna have Mr. Incredible cheating on his wife. But like it's so clear in the script that like that is what's happening. He's emotionally cheating on her with these solo adventures where he gets to be a super again.
Right.
I did feel like though they crossed the line with the Mirage character, because you're right, there is so much sexual tension between those two characters.
Yeah.
And because the movie has demonstrated to us that he's not the greatest husband or father, like as a viewer, as an adult viewer, I would not put it past him if he did actually have an affair with Mirage, which like is not okay. It's like
a little weird.
It's a little weird.
Yeah.
Cheating is not good. It's not cool. Don't do it, man.
Don't do it.
We don't stand that here.
Yeah.
So I feel like my tweak that I would make in this movie, like instead of making Mirage a like seductress type character that like there's tension with Mr. Incredible, just like make Mirage like a dude. Like make him like a Syndrome's like henchman that's like running the island. Like you can tell that whole story without Mirage being like this. And I'm not saying I find her sexy, but like clearly the animators are animating her to be this like sexy secretary type.
Yeah,
We don't need that.
I think that you can still even have Mirage and just not add the whole sultry Mr.
The sultry vibe to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like a small, like I said, this is a 5-star movie for both of us. Even like you can't even do that because like Mirage does add like a cool James Bond-esque like style to the movie that's set in this like retro futuristic world.
Yeah.
So like even like her small part plays a big part in the world building of it. But we have to answer the question. So.
And I do think it's important for Syndrome's storyline. And
right, because they're love interests technically. Syndrome and Mirage.
And you see that she's even at one point it's like don't play with my like she sees like how Bob treats Helen and like she like realizes like, oh, you don't need to be risking me to get your way.
Yeah. Dude, Bob chokes her out in this movie. Insane. I just wanted to bring that up. Yeah, I'm telling you, Mr. Incredible's not very stable, dude. He's kind of insane.
So
all right, cool. We're gonna wrap up the studio. We're gonna wrap up the episode. We're gonna go through our rankings 1 through 6 or 6 through 1. Then I'm gonna ask you your question of the episode as the head of Pixar Studios, and then we're gonna sign off. So let's start with our 6th spot.
All right.
You can go first. I'll go second.
I think my number 6 might be a little shocking for you.
Really? Are you about to surprise me? I thought we were gonna have like almost identical lists.
I put Bug's Life.
That's fine. Like I said, if Bug's Life was just had a different Fortnite skin on, people would like it. So whatever.
And again, it's not that I didn't like it because I think all 6 of these movies, I might have ranked Bug's Life a little lower this morning and put it at 3.5. I have to decide if it's 3.5 or 4.
I didn't give any of these movies less than 4 stars.
I need to think about it. But based on the other ones that I think are 4 stars, this one just ranks a little lower. And so
you're just like everybody else.
I'm sorry.
You're just like everybody. You see Bug's Life the same way as everybody else.
I'm sorry. I have stronger feelings about all the other movies. So
yeah, Bug's Life.
All
right. Toy Story is on the 6th spot for me. It's none of these movies are bad.
That's what I was trying to say. All these movies are good movies. We're not at a point where we're saying that a Pixar movie is bad.
Correct. I think just Toy Story is the most limited out of this whole list. Yeah. All right, 5th spot.
Toy Story.
Bug's Life. Yeah. So even I'm glazing Bug's Life, but it still doesn't crack.
The top 4.
The top 4. Yeah, we won't repeat our I think we have the same thoughts.
Yeah.
I think Bug's Life is like just slightly better than Toy Story. And you clearly think Bug's Life is a little bit worse than Toy Story. Yeah. All right, 4th spot.
I said Monsters, Inc.
No way.
Yeah. This is a big upset for you.
This is, man. Like I said, I kind of feel like mostly all the movies in this first decade are better than the last one. So like I'm just gonna go in order here. I put Toy Story 2. Even though I did change my rating, I gave Toy Story 2 4.5 when we watched it. And this morning, as I was reflecting a little bit more, I gave it 5 stars. I think Toy Story is a masterpiece.
How is it possible?
Because it doesn't achieve
like a 5-star movie in 4th spot behind other 4.5-star
because
movies.
It doesn't achieve the same technical aspects as the movies that go after it.
Okay.
Like I think at its heart, like I think it's got the heart of a 5-star movie, but like it just doesn't do the stuff that Nemo, Monsters Inc. or Incredibles does.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So you put what did you put here? Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc.
Why? I zoned out as soon as you said Monsters Inc. I stopped listening.
The top 3, which now would be either Toy Story 2, Nemo, and Incredibles. My top 3, I think clearly we've talked about how good Toy Story 2 and Incredibles are, and then Nemo I think has such a nostalgic place in my heart, but also between watching Nemo last night and finishing Monsters Inc. this morning, I think it just by a little bit.
No, that's fair. That's fair. You were a little bit more zoned out watching Monsters Inc. this morning, I noticed.
Yeah.
Your heart wasn't in it.
All the way.
All right. Third spot.
Um. So yeah, Nemo.
Okay, I put Nemo here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Nemo is carried by its like how beautiful it is.
Yeah, I think the score's so good,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, I really did feel like we had an emotional plot line that carried it enough
Yeah,
to be top three for me.
yeah, that's fine. I agree with that as well. We have it in the same spot. Um, okay, second spot. I'll go first because this is where we differentiate the most. I put Monsters Inc. at the second spot. I like
And why is it so high for you?
because I think it has the same. Okay, it doesn't have the same technical achievements as Nemo. I think Nemo is a little bit better on a technical
Mm-hmm.
side and on an animation side.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do think the heart of Monsters Inc. and the adventure of Monsters Inc. is so much better than the adventure of Nemo.
Sure.
Like I said, like the Nemo adventure is like a little bit like um I don't know, like robotic. I don't know. It just doesn't flow. Ironically enough, it's in the ocean, but it doesn't flow for me. And the adventure in Monsters Inc. has like a really good flow for me.
I accept that.
Yeah,
I think that's fair. I think that honestly, these top four for me are close,
they're all really
close, close.
They're all really close. I am curious to see what our lists will look like later in the decades.
I'm thinking about on Letterboxd. I right now have just the top these movies,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking about doing like each decade their own
That's what I'm
and an
doing.
overall list.
That's smart. I'm a copy on that one.
Just
Yeah.
so I can see where, because I feel like it's really hard. It's going to be really hard to, like, these might stay the top six.
Yeah, it's true.
I have a
It's
hard time
very
believing
possible.
that there's going to be more than
I mean, there's
a
some
handful of movies that.
bangers in the next
I
decade.
mean, of course, yeah, we're going to see some really good ones, like, but at the same time, I think it's going to be really hard to beat the original.
Yeah, the Founding Fathers.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, what was your second spot?
Toy Story 2.
Yes. That's fair. Like,
I mean, we
it's a
said
5-star
they're
movie.
both like,
Yeah.
yeah. I also was thinking about how maybe I haven't. I might need to go back and re-rate these, but yeah.
Yeah. And then it seems like we have the same number one spot, which is The Incredibles. Yeah, I think we started our journey with The Incredibles. We're ending it with The Incredibles. It's so good. There's not much more that needs to be said about it.
Yeah.
I have a really big issue with The Incredibles 2, which we'll get to later in our decades.
Yeah.
I think everything, and I haven't rewatched it in my adult years.
I will say I think every sequel that comes after this
is worse,
other than Toy Story 2, is going to be worse than its first.
What about Toy Story 3? I'm really curious to rewatch that.
I don't know that it's going to be better than the two originals.
Rewatch or when Toy Story 3 came out, I felt like it was the best Toy Story. I'm curious to see where it'll land for me now.
Yeah, but we can get into that when we get into Toy Story 3 and 4, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay, I have my question for the head of Pixar Studios. So listen, Emily, it's 1995. We have 4 really good projects lined up kicking off our life here at Pixar Studios.
Mm-hmm.
But we noticed that for Toy Story 1, Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, and Monsters Inc., our first 4 projects, we have the same composer. Randy Newman is composing all 4 of these movies.
He's a great guy.
He's a great guy. Listen, we love him around here. But we're worried that our scores are going to be a little bit fatigued. There's going to be fatigue in between movies. There's going to be too many similar themes. We want to add a little bit of variety. So we need you to cut him from one of these projects. Please tell us, what project are you cutting him off from?
Initially, when you brought this question to me, I was stressed. I was like, I don't know how you take him off of any of these movies, because that I feel like one thing that for all 6 of these movies, the score, the music is so good.
It is for all of them.
It's so good. Like, all 6 of these movies have such great scores that really integrate into the movie itself, and I felt like, how do you separate a score from the movie? Because you hear it and you immediately think Toy Story. You hear it and you immediately think Bug's Life, or whatever. And so for me, I was like, And then who do you replace it? Like, I got really in my head when you asked me this question.
That would be too
To be
hard. I
fair,
thought about asking you who you, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that.
but
Just cut him. Yeah.
um, I mean, I think you can. I think for continuity purposes, for the first two movies, especially because they're so close together, of Toy Story and Toy Story 2, you can't have a different composer
Okay.
logistically, I think. And I also think Monsters Inc. is one of the top
I think Monsters Inc. is
scores.
his best work in these four movies.
Like you can't like the jazzy
Mm-hmm.
like music, the song at the end that they do with the credits, like you can't take that away. I mean,
Oh my
so
gosh, you're about to cut Bugs Life, aren't you?
I'm so sorry, but Bug's Life is gonna need a different composer. And it's not because I think it's the worst. It's just logistically, I think it. Don't
I'm
cry.
not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I just like
You asked me a hard question.
I just feel like we're burying Bugs Life. You know, poor little Bugs Life. What they do to you?
I just also think like I'm thinking, and it doesn't have a strong as a like.
You're right. Like if I asked a person on the street to like give me the Bugs Life theme, they might struggle.
I don't even know if I could do it for you right now.
I know. I know. Listen,
I'm
that's
not
because
trying.
no, I'm not offended. I asked you a tough question. You made a tough decision. I respect it. Your logic is flawless. You're right. You definitely 100%. You cannot cut him from Monsters Inc.
Yeah,
Um, I think I would cut him from one of the Toy Stories. I just don't know which one. Probably Toy Story 2.
I mean that makes sense, but then
Because listen, Bug's Life already is struggling so much as it is.
let's say that we cut it and we get a better composer then.
You think it could potentially elevate Bug's Life a
I
little bit?
do.
Well, you know that gives me hope. I appreciate
I'm
that
doing it for the betterment of Bug's Life.
for the betterment of the studio.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
You
Ahead
made
of
me the
Pixar.
CEO. I have to do
All
things
right,
to make
you're right.
money.
All right, final thoughts before we wrap up the episode. I think this first decade
We
doesn't
said it
miss.
enough. We'll say it again.
It doesn't miss. I'm excited to see where stuff starts to go wrong.
I'm pretty sure the next movie.
Yeah, Cars.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Cars in like my adulthood. I'm
As
like
far
I
as box
know
office goes, I already know Cars is a huge drop off.
I know I'm gonna like I know I'm gonna still enjoy Cars. I just know I don't know if I'm gonna think that it's that good of a movie. Um, but yeah, I'm curious to see like where the mistakes start happening and if there's a pattern. Because like obviously like Pixar will start to kind of like slowly decrease in quality, and I'm wondering if like there were just like warning signs that like everyone missed.
Sure.
So it'll be curious to see it with hindsight. Um, but nothing in this first 10 years. I don't see any signs of decline so far.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think I'm a little wary of jumping into the next decade because um, I don't think that it's going to be the worst decade. I do think that a lot of people credit the most
The
recent
current one,
decade.
yeah.
However, I like this is the gold. We're in the golden age of Pixar
Mm-hmm.
in the first 10 years,
Yeah.
and so now we're going to be going into who knows.
Yeah. I would argue, even though there are some bad projects in the next decade, I would actually argue that the next decade is the golden age because this is all set up. And then, like,
Cars 2 is the golden
no,
age.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that. No, it's because this is all like the the wind up to some really good projects that we get. Like when you're watching Wall-E, when you're watching Ratatouille, when you're watching Up, like you're like this is the golden age because we already got the setup to all of that.
Right.
But
We'll see when we get there.
but this
I think
first
that they have a
decade,
lot of IP in the second decade that is very popular.
yeah,
Who knows if the movies are actually good though?
that good, yeah.
Have you watched Up actually more than
And
just the scene that makes everyone cry?
I probably watched Up sometime in the last 7 years, but not since I've had a letterbox. This first decade is flawless,
Yeah.
so I guess technically it should be a golden age. I just don't want to label it the golden age because it makes me sad to think that like every
We're
decade
not
is worse.
gonna get.
Yeah, exactly. What are you looking forward to the most in the next decade?
Um, I am intrigued to see. I think we've talked about it, but like, what is what are good movies coming up and what are not good movies coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we should potentially talk about box office a little bit more in our
Okay.
next
Yeah.
podcast too. I'm interested to see, you
Yeah.
know, how that affects
Yeah.
these movies. I think it's fair not to see it for this because
Yeah.
it's their first, but
Yeah, we could squeeze that in. I think that's a
I
good
think for
idea.
the next decade, I'm struggling to remember all the movies, but like you said, yeah, we've got Wall-E,
Yeah.
Cars, at least Cars 1
It's
and
just Cars
2.
2. Yeah, Cars 1 and 2, I mean. Yep.
I know that it ends before Inside Out, so
Actually, Inside Out will be. Oh,
I don't remember, but
I don't remember.
either ends right before or ends with
Yeah.
Inside Out.
Inside Out is
So
like right at the
I think
border
it's
of that.
2013.
Inside
Yeah.
Out?
So it
No,
might
it's
be.
not. It's 15 or 16. Yeah, it's the last one. Like, I remember It's Good Dinosaur is the last one, and right before that, I think it's Inside Out. Or it's
Well, we'll
right
see.
after Good Dinosaur. Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I've never seen Brave or Good Dinosaur,
Okay,
so I'm looking forward to like some just like new movies. Like I'm just gonna get to watch them for the first time.
that is
Um,
exciting for me.
I'm also looking forward to seeing how I'll feel about Monsters U and Cars. I think those are the ones that I'm like I had no problem with them when
Yeah,
they came out, but I'm wondering if as an adult now I'm just that like not.
The Dinosaur is a good point. Yeah, because I watched it once, not in theaters, at my parents' house with my family, and I remember like crying through the whole movie. So I'm interested to see if emotionally it's the same.
Yeah. Well, that's it on our end. That was a great episode. Thank you for sitting down
Yeah.
with me. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Spotify, as well as subscribe on YouTube, all under MPod.
EMMM.
With 3 M's.
Yes.
You'll hear from us in the next episode. Until then, silence your cell phones and enjoy the company of others. Goodbye.